Welcome to the StockMentor.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stock mentor, Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. And as we enter another week of trading, we had a very interesting end to Friday. We have had about 2 weeks of very bearish action. Um, and on Friday, we had a huge run up at the end of the day. We'll get into that here in just a second. But a lot of these charts are starting to look the same now. Last 2 weeks have been extremely bearish. And now we have the potential for a little bullishness to come back into the markets. If that happens, you need to be positioned as such. But I wouldn't get, and I'm going to tell you, I'm still not, man, I don't even know how to describe this except to say that my gut feeling is not to get overly bullish yet. As we look at these charts, you can see the big rundown that we've had the last few weeks. I've drawn in some channel lines to kind of give us an idea of where we're bouncing and where we're at within the bigger move. And you can see here, this big move down here was one that was a very slow, very methodical bleed to the downside. And now we've got this bounce. This move here that we saw is very indicative, for those of you that are Elliott wave people, of a wave 3 down. They're very long, they're strong, hard moves to the downside. And then we see a very ferocious bounce to the upside. What that is anybody's guess. It could be a 4 wave, 4 corrective wave. It could be a 2 wave. We don't really know yet. And to be honest, like I said, I'm not a professional Elliottician. I just use it in conjunction with my technical analysis, and that's what I'm going back to right now, is my technical analysis. And what I'm seeing here is, although we had a hard run up at the very end of Friday, we really have not broken much from the bear since. Remember those hard moves we used to have to the upside? And then we'd pull back just as hard. And I used to say nothing's really broken from the bull side. I'm in the same boat here. Nothing's really broken from the bear side. We really don't have necessarily anything to get super bullish about right now. And I'll tell you where the mistakes will come in, and that'll be on the dailies. We have a lot of these big hammer candles on the dailies. I like to look for big volume on my hammer candles, and I see that here. So it's not too bad. It is a bullish looking candle. I will not dispute that. What I will dispute is that we haven't really broken any of the bigger levels above us yet to get me into that, okay, this is a bounce or this is a more bullish move type of an area yet. I'm not there yet. So I want you guys to be just aware of the fact that it is still possible, even after a big hammer candle like this, for the markets to bounce only a little bit and then move back down, or to really just plain and simple move straight down from here as well. Don't get sucked into this big candle. Use them in the way they're meant to be used, and that is, this is just at this point a potential reversal candle yet. So how will I approach the week? I will approach Monday neutral. I'm not necessarily bearish. I'm not necessarily bullish. As of just Monday, I will be neutral. Overall, long term, I'm still neutral, more and neutral to bearish, most certainly. But as for Monday, I'm entering the day neutral, and I would ask you to just not make any rash ideas about where you think the market's going to go. Let it make up its mind for you. So here we have the daily. You can see us with the big hammer candle. I'm looking for a push up. I really want to see something over 10,200. That'll get us up over, or really 10,250 ultimately, but 10,200 would certainly be a good start for me. Anything above that would get us above this overhead trend line that I've drawn here, and it would put us above some overhead resistance. I'd really like to see that happen before I start to look at this as, a more bullish type of a move to the markets. So let's wait to see if that happens. Let's get back over 10,200 on the Dow before we start making a really big commitment to the upside. Doesn't mean you can't play the upside before that, but I would keep my position sizes smaller. I wouldn't go all in on it and just guess at it. I'd let it kind of play itself out. On the NASDAQ, we're in the same type of a boat. You can see, though, here that we've finally broken this little falling trend line. We've done it once. This is the second time we've broke it. We'll see if we can hold here this time. First time we were not able to and came crashing right back down. Second time, I think there's a much better chance that we will this time, but I'm still looking for a push up and over at least 1760, if not 1770, to start looking at this as a little bit more bullish in the larger term. From a daily standpoint on the NASDAQ, I want you to look at this. I drew in some little channel lines here, and you can see this really steep channel that we've been following. Up over that 1760, 1770 area that I told you about would get us up and out of this upper channel line. That's where I'll be looking to maybe start thinking of this as a more bullish move. But I'd be very careful in the meantime. That's just saying, I'm not saying don't go long. Once again, I'm just saying make sure you're careful about moving up your stops and maybe backing off your position sizes for the time being. Remember that the 1780, 1785-ish area is going to be overhead resistance as well once we break this upper trend line. NASDAQ on a weekly, we did put in a doji here on the weekly. So now we're looking at once again, potential reversal candle. So I am seeing some bullishness, not bullishness, I should say. I am seeing some bullish signs in the market for the short term. But until they play out, I'm not sold on it yet. A lot of times these can put in these little dojis, get people to get overly bullish on things, and only to see it drag it down. Once again, potential reversal candle. Any break, obviously, back and below this 1700 would take us right back into 1650 more than likely, and would of course take this candle and just make it a continuation doji as opposed to a reversal doji. So make sure it gets back up and over on the bigger time frame, back up and over this 20-week moving average, which is what? Yes, 1772. So between that 1770, 1780 mark is what I'm looking at on the NASDAQ. From an SPX version, same thing as the Dow. We've had this hard move down. Now we're bouncing back up, right back here to a little bit. I'm going to call this kind of some light overhead resistance here. I don't think this is necessarily strong. Up over 1070 is really where I'm going to start watching things closely, especially over the 1075-ish area. Above that, I think we can get back to 1085. But we've got to break some of these more and larger overhead resistance areas before I really start getting sold on a bigger bounce or maybe some bullishness left in the market. I'm not sure how people are counting this Elliott wave wise, but I think there would be a potential count out there, probably as an alternate count, that maybe down here was actually the bottom of wave 1 instead of here being the bottom of wave 1. So instead of looking at this as the wave 1, then this was wave 2, now we've started a wave 3 down. This could potentially be the end of wave 5, and now we're going to do a wave 2 upwards. Then we're going to have a wave 3 down. That's an alternate count too. For those of you playing along at home on the Elliott wave side, that's just my opinion on it. Once again, I'm back to technical analysis. I want to get over 1070 and really 1075-ish or so to really start getting me a little bit more bullish on these markets. Watch these levels closely. Anything back down below 1060 is probably due for a little bit more of a drop. Might not break this low, but I would think below 1060 would be maybe a defensible place to get short. Weekly, once again, putting in the doji, we do not know which way this is going to go. This is a potential reversal doji, but it's also a potential continuation doji. So it's nothing to, just don't have a bias coming into the week. Let the charts tell you where to go. Looking for a